Gary Sossard here, Harrogate Pro Shop, weekly swing tip time. So what we're going to talk about today is playing into wind. A few ideas around, how important it is getting the right flight on the ball, controlling that loft on the club face and controlling that backspin. What we see a lot of the time is not taking enough club. So if it's a 10, 20 mile per hour wind, we've got to take enough extra club to be able to control the loft on the ball, otherwise that ball just spins up and it stalls. So I've set our studio up to a 165 yard shot into a 20 mile per hour wind. So I'm going to hit a couple of shots and I'll just hit it as a normal shot first of all. So that'll be my normal 7-iron into wind. And then we'll have a little look at the spin on the ball. Normal 7-iron, not factoring that it's into wind. And we can see there the spin, 7,300 in the loft. So the key thing when we're playing a shot into wind is to try and reduce this dynamic loft and reduce this backspin so that ball doesn't spin up. So the real key thing here is to try to reduce that dynamic loft on the club face. That then will reduce spin, which will then give it a more penetrating flight through the wind. So we do that by positioning that ball off the back of the stance there. So we'll put that ball position really almost in line with that right foot. Hands will be slightly forwards, and then when we come to impact, we can see there we're reducing the loft on the face. The only problem is hitting into that yardage with a 7-iron, I'm still not going to get there. So for 20 mile per hour wind, I'm going to take 2 clubs extra. So I'm going to go with a 5-iron. I'm going to place it on my back of the stance. And then remember, whenever you're playing into wind, swing it easy, control the spin. So really off the back foot. And we can see there, this might just get to the green, just short. There we go, so that's a 5-iron, and look at the difference in the dynamic loft there, 13.8, whereas with a 7-iron it was 28, and that's really the key thing, control the loft, and then that controls this backspin there. So we control that loft by putting that ball back in the stance. We took backspin off because we're delivering less loft and swinging a lot smoother. So also when you're playing into wind, just be careful and make sure you practice this, because when that ball is quite a long way back in the stance, you might see a few hook shots because it can change the path slightly, a little bit more into out. So get yourself on the practice ground, hit some shots, just try and get used to the change in the path direction. Try not to fight the path. Always remember, if it's coming slightly more from the inside, we don't want to be pushing out. We don't want to be pushing that neck towards it. We want to be still trying to exit left and towards the target. But the real key thing is take plenty of club. If it's a 10 mile per hour wind, I would probably look at taking 2 extra clubs. So if it's 20 miles an hour, take 3 or 4 extra clubs. The softer you can hit that ball, and with that ball back, you will then take spin off it, which will send it low through the air. It's a better flight for you into wind. Swing it easy when it's breezy. Thanks again for listening to this week's swing tip. If you want any more lessons, give us a call on the number below. Thank you.